I suppose the Munster Championship, Kerry versus Clare, first of all. I suppose we'll discuss Clare for a minute, first of all. Are they the second best team in Munster at the moment, in your opinion?
Horse me to say it, definitely, but they are. I can't say anything else other than that. Like, I know Cork beat them by a point, but Clare could have easily won that game. And it's amazing, like, Clare lost Gary Brennan and they're performing this well. Like, they've some brilliant young players coming through in Daniel Walsh, Cathal O'Connor, the likes of Darren O'Neill in midfield coming to the fore, David Tubridy, he's an absolute skilled player. Owen Cleary has been one of the players of the league, let's be real. And they were very close to Mayo, and they probably should have beaten them on another day. They were very unlucky to lose that game. So, Clare are the second best team. There's no point in debating it. I think they're better coached as well. I think Colm Collins has been around the block for years. He's the longest serving manager throughout 32 counties, and you could see why he's been there for such a long time. That Clare team is very well drilled. They have their attack is very good. Joe McGann looks very good. Gavin Cooley, a corner forward. There's very nice young players coming through. They've organised defence. And the thing with Cork that separates Clare and Cork, I think Cork at times are very inconsistent. There's one performance against like a big side like a Dublin or a Kerry that you think, oh, Cork, they're absolutely brilliant. Why can't they put it up to the big sides all the time? And then you see a performance like I was at a match in 2017 against Waterford, and then we only beat them by a point. It was a horrendous performance. And then against Clare, we only beat by a point. Westmeath, we probably should have lost. So it's a weird one with Cork. They always seem to struggle against smaller teams, and then against bigger sides, more often than not, we turn on the style. But Clare are the much better team. They're the second best team in Munster, and it's very unfortunate that they play Kerry and then they're gone. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a terrible system to have. I know there's COVID restrictions and all that, but they could have easily had a qualifier system to benefit the likes of Clare or Derry or Offaly. So it's unfortunate for Clare, but to answer your question, yeah, they're the second best side in Munster. There's no point debating it.
Yeah. I suppose I know I had Cork above Clare in the in my football power rankings, which certainly caused a bit of a debate. But yeah, I don't know, the gap between Clare and Cork is definitely quite narrow. And I suppose when I seen Cork beat Kerry last year, I think that was the main kind of thing that influenced my thinking there. But you make a lot of good points about Clare. It's very hard to argue against any of them. And I suppose with David Tubridy on Cleary, maybe on form, and Darren O'Neill, the engine in midfield, I thought he was brilliant against Mayo, obviously, when he got that goal, and the influence he had kind of driving forward. I mean, what kind of problems could they cause Kerry in this game? I mean, and how, like, what do you see the kind of margin of points maybe in this game? Could Kerry win this maybe like they've beaten Tyrone or a Galway? But I suppose Clare will most likely get men behind the ball and play defensive and probably try to hit Kerry on the break. So I suppose it makes for an intriguing game.
It does, yeah, and most people actually think Kerry will hammer Clare. I beg to differ. Maybe that's me being a Cartman speaking from the heart in many ways, but I think Clare play a running game. They run at full back lines quite often. They did it against Laois, they did it against Mayo, and if Mayo felt threatened by the Clare attack running at them, just watch them against Kerry, because the one thing Kerry don't like is forwards running at them with pace. Cork did it for years, like in 2019, the Munster final. I know we lost the game by 3 points, but we could have easily won that game if a few referee decisions went our way and, our shooting was a lot better. So if Clare played that running game with the likes of Darren O'Neill, Daniel Walsh, Cathal O'Connor, they could give an Akeem, I don't know his second name, but Akeem, Aaron Griffin, another sub to bring on. If they bring on them young players and run at that Kerry defence with Ty Borley and Jason Foley, who aren't really equipped to deal with runners running at them towards goal, Clare could actually put it up to Kerry. I think the main problem for Clare, though, is the Kerry forwards, obviously. The likes of Sean O'Shea, Paddy Clifford, David Clifford, the fact that Gordon Kelly's now gone, who, coincidentally enough, David Clifford actually described as his toughest marker ever, and now he's retired, another retiree for the Clare team. which shows how good a job Colin Collins has done this season in Division 2. So it will be tough. Maybe Killian Brennan can go on. David Clifford's put on maybe their best marker in training. Whoever marks David Tubridy or Owen Cleary the best in training can go on David Clifford. So it will be a tough ask for Clare, but ultimately, I would say a 6 point win for Kerry is probably respectable. I don't think it will be a hammering. I think Clare will put it up to Kerry, but it will be a close game. But Kerry are All Ireland's contenders for a reason. But the advice I give Clare is run at that Kerry defence, because they don't know what will hit them. Mayo did it in 2019. Dublin did it in the replay in 2019. Owen Merchant running straight through that defence. And Kerry got caught. Cork did it in 2019. They did it towards the end with that Mark King goal, even with Sean Meehan running at that Kerry defence and then recycling the ball back. So, look, Clare have the players to run at Kerry. The margin of victory, I think, will be 6 points, but maybe it'll be higher, maybe it'll be lower. But I honestly think Clare will give Kerry a test, but Kerry should have enough to win this game, especially what happened last year with Mark Keane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure Kerry fans will remember that one very well, or although I'm sure they're all trying to forget. But yeah, look, listen, I think, hopefully Clare, I suppose, look, listen, if we go off the Mayo game, you know, Clare showed a lot of heart and determination. They seemed very passionate. I've seen remember clips of like Darren O'Neill, who looked exhausted after a goal. It looked like he was nearly going to start crying with exhaustion. And, you know, Owen Cleary as well, like just the amount of passion, like definitely Colin Collins has really got them riled up. And I think if there's an example for a county to really try and exceed and get better as the years go on, and maybe go from a Division 4 team up to a Division 2 team, I think Clare is the perfect example. And yeah, you know, I hope they do drive at Kerry, and I think if we go off the Mayo game, I think they will, and I think they could cause problems there. And you know, if we get a situation where we're going into the final 10 minutes and maybe Clare have a 2 or 3 point lead, it wouldn't surprise me if Clare did pull it off. But I think, you know, everyone knows, you know, who watches my channel, I do think Kerry will go on to the All-Ireland final. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a close one, and it's going to be an interesting one, most certainly. And I'd probably agree. I'd probably have Kerry by maybe 6 or 7 points.